Welcome back. Staying with the alleged forgery case, the Senate Committee on Judiciary and Human Rights summoned the Attorney General of the Federation to explain his involvement in the charges against the Senate presiding officers. Journalists waiting for the arrival of the Attorney General of the Federation and members of the Senate Committee on Judiciary and Human Rights. 45 minutes after the appointed time, the chairman and some members of the committee arrive. Opening the session, the chairman explains the focus of the meeting.
Based on the Senate resolution on what was tagged imminent threat to our democracy, I would like to know if the Honorable Attorney General is here.
He was not present. Standing in for him is the Special Assistant to the President on Prosecution. The lawmakers say they had invited the Attorney General of the Federation and not the President.
Our invitation was to the Honorable Attorney General. And I'm sure you are not Honorable Attorney General, just like you have indicated. So we cannot hear you. I'm sorry.
With that, the representative walks out. Outside, he had this to say.
This matter is now before a court of law. There is separation of powers in Nigeria. It is not the position of the Senate to constitute themselves into a court of law.
Back inside, the chairman of the committee explains that the Attorney General had earlier asked for time to prepare his position.
So the best we will do at this point in time is to report back to plenary, and then the Senate in plenary will take a decision on our next line of action.
Now, this development adds another chapter to the ongoing disagreements between the executive and the legislature, with no hope of any resolution in sight. Now, following this, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Senator Itayenang, has denied media reports that he will be testifying in the case in his capacity as an aide to President Muhammadu Buhari. This is his explanation.
I am not in this matter named as aide of the President, but as a person who is deemed to have been involved in the rules and business, who ought to know whether or not the rules were amended. As that today, from all the statements of all the parties I have read, no person has stated that the rules were amended by the 7th Senate. Every person has agreed that the rules were not amended by the 7th Senate, and the rest are contained in the statement.
Now, the Senate Committee on Aviation has been very busy, from oversight functions to investigative hearings. Here are two reports on their activities.
For you, the fund is doing well.
Members of the Joint Senate Committee on Aviation and Anti-Corruption, government officials and representatives of airlines at a public hearing to probe the bailout for the aviation sector in 2011. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Aviation first gives an insight into the reason for the meeting, and immediately after making his remarks, the Minister of Transport and Aviation, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, takes the shot. He says his ministry and its parastatals have no record of the funds.
The actual thing they would have done is to pass it through the ministry. And we're saying here that the ministry does not know anything about the $40 million, neither do we know anything about the 86.6 billion naira. None of our agencies seem to know anything about it too.
To set the record straight, an official from the central bank gives a breakdown of what the aviation fund is all about. Out of the 10 airlines that received the bailout, 2 of them have become moribund.
Under the Power and Airline Intervention Fund, we've funded 10 airlines to the tune of 120 billion. And the interest on the facility is 7% to the end users, that is the airlines. and the tenure of the loan is for between 10 to 15 years. So repayments are done on instrumental basis. So far, like I mentioned, that's why we've been able to have about 39.5 billion repaid as I did.
Some members of the committee, however, observed that there was a twist in dealings of some of the airlines 2 weeks after they received the funds.
We have taken one airline as an example. The application was made in 2010. Approved, and money, he had access to the money in 2011. As soon as he got access to the money, he transferred huge sums of money to a company in Ghana, apparently to acquire a business in Ghana, with the money that is meant to develop aviation in Nigeria. Then there were other transfers that were non-aviation related, and they are in huge amount. So what we are saying is that if you have collected this money to enhance the growth and development of aviation, where lies the wisdom of making this huge transfer to non-aviated related, including transfers across the borders of Nigeria?
More revelations are expected to emerge as presentations are made by key players in the aviation sector, as well as government and private sector that facilitated the disbursement of the aviation bailout funds. It is hoped that findings at this public hearing will resolve the many challenges confronting the aviation sector in the days ahead. It is a tale of sadness and disappointment as the Senate Committee on Aviation arrives at the Kaduna Airport for oversight function.
Yes, another building. And the track is from foundation to up, but up is more pronounced.
Disappointed by the slow pace of work on the terminal of the Kaduna Airport, the committee mandates officials of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, the consultants and contractors of the project to appear before the committee for explanation. At the Nigeria College of Aviation Technology, the committee also inspects a number of ongoing and completed projects and assures the college authority of effective oversight.
Go and look at the areas where things are not working, so we can make things work. And areas that need to be supported, we will also support.
The situation is, however, different at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, where the oversight visits began. The Minister of State for Aviation and the Director General of the Nigeria Meteorological Agency received members of the committee and guided them through the airport. With the inspection over, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Aviation, he noticed some buildings begging for renovation at the premises of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, expressed satisfaction with the general level of work.
We're starting from Cmtte where we are. The management of Cmtte, they've done very well, absolutely very well, in the sense that monies are appropriated to various projects. We've seen those projects that are in place, and they're all functioning and impacting on the job.
The Minister of State for Aviation used the occasion of the visit to reiterate the commitment of the federal government to establish a national carrier.
The national carrier is not something that you say happen and it happens, or it's not pregnancy that you say for sure by the end of 9 months it will come out. It has to go through process, and I told you it's going to be private sector driven. We are now in the process of appointing a transaction advisor that will drive the process. This transaction advisor is not my creation, it's a creation of the policy of government. We are partnering with ICRC, as it were, to ensure that we get it right and we do it according to the laws of the country. It will come soon. You have to be patient. There are a lot of issues involved. It's not something that you just do overnight. We have a lot of bilateral agreement and air service agreement with other countries. We've got partnerships. We've got understanding of other nations and other carriers. So we have to take all this into consideration. It's going to happen soon, but soon I cannot determine to say at point T.
With the discoveries made during the tour of Abuja and Kaduna airports, the Senate Committee reaffirms its commitment to visit other airports in the country to ensure that Nigerian airports are well maintained for effective service delivery.